Sometimes it rivals Shinobi 3 in terms of music, and I consider that the gold standard of Genesis games. Maybe I'll do a video on Shinobi 3 someday. Well, we've put this off long enough. I think it's about time we take a look at Shinobi 3. Now, I know what you're thinking. This isn't Shinobi 3, this is the Revenge of Shinobi, you ignorant motherfucker. And my response is, this is the actual Shinobi 3. You got the first game, Shinobi, which came out in the arcades in 1987. That's the one where Joe Musashi uses a gun. Legendary Ninja Master, ladies and gentlemen. Then Shadow Dancer in 1989, where instead of saving children from terrorists, you're saving bombs from terrorists. Then the third game, The Revenge of Shinobi or the Super Shinobi for the Sega Genesis in the same year. In 1990, Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi, and the Cyber Shinobi for the Master System were released, the two Game Gear Shinobis in 91 and 92, and Shinobi 3 Return of the Ninja Master in 93. That makes Revenge of Shinobi the third game, and Shinobi 3 the seventh game in the franchise, or eighth if you count the North American version of Shadow Dancer on the Genesis as a sequel to Revenge of Shinobi instead of a port of Shadow Dancer. You know, I'm just gonna hire a team to research this shit next time. This is the first Shinobi game developed for the Sega Genesis. A full year before Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi. Revenge of Shinobi is a pretty important game for a few reasons. It came out in December of 1989, making it a very early Genesis title. This game needed to be a hit, especially in North America where the Genesis came out 4 months prior. This was 2 years before Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage, and before many of Sega's heavy hitters came out on the Genesis. Also, if you look at the title screen, the name Yuzo Koshiro is right in front of you. Rarely do you see the composer get top billing on a video game, especially a freelancer at the time. And yes, he is the MVP of the team. Koshiro looked at this game about playing God with Christian, Greek, and Hindu influences and said, "It needs more slap bass." Somehow it worked. The man is a legend. This is the first Genesis game he worked on. This is after Koshiro worked on the music for Ys 1 and 2 before leaving Falcom. This was around the time Koshiro was starting to get influenced by the house music of the West. The soundtrack is a hybrid of funk, house, and traditional Japanese music. The soundtrack is great, but it's a far cry compared to what Koshiro would be capable of doing with the Yamaha 2612 later on. A lot of the sound effects in this game would be borrowed by Streets of Rage as well. Even the art style is similar too. A lot of people who worked on Streets of Rage worked on Revenge of Shinobi. Without this game, Streets of Rage would have never existed. You play as Joe Musashi, a badass ninja with the dumbest name ever for a ninja. Joe. When you think about the great ninjas in video games, you think Ryu Hayabusa, Strider Hiryu, Gray Fox? Joe. In the first game, you saved the children of the Oboro clan from the criminal Zed organization. They intend to return back to the feudal era of Japan, in which ninja were at the most active during the constant civil wars that took place. That's a cause I can get behind. Kidnapping children, however? That's a paddlin'. Joseph the Ninja defeated them with his ninjutsu, but now Zed has returned as Neo Zed. They've graduated from kidnapping to murder, as everyone with the power of stealth is targeted. Even Joe, who I have never seen use stealth even once. They killed your master and took your girlfriend hostage. Now utilize the power of stealth by never using it once in this entire game. This game handles very differently from the previous Shinobi games. For starters, you walk incredibly slow compared to the previous games.
Why does it walk like it has to take a dump?
Somehow the Venture Bros keeps finding its way onto my YouTube channel, and I don't know how to stop it. You don't need to collect a bunch of stuff for hostages before you can progress. Just get to the end. It's a more traditional side-scroller. You now have a health meter, so you can take more than one hit without dying. You may notice over time that your health bar gets bigger after every 100,000 points. You also jump way higher, like you're on the moon. It's like,
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Other additions include duck walking, this double jump that shoots 8 kunai on the ground. Who needs stealth when you can become a rain cloud full of knives? Limited ammo, which can be changed in the options. You can set it to 0 if you really hate yourself. Okay, that's new. And your biggest addition is your new ninjutsu magic. Final stop. Ninjutsu magic. You get to choose between jump magic, shield magic, and AoE attack, or just kill yourself. This is more useful than you think. Not only is suicide an all-screen attack, but you regain all the health you lost, and you continue right where you left off. You can only use magic as long as you have ninjutsu. Sometimes the levels are made just for a certain magic ability, like the waterfall and tower stage for jumps, and the shield comes in handy in a lot of situations. And then there's the power. This thing destroys everything. It buffs your damage output considerably. It turns bosses into interns. It lets you block projectiles and it gives you a longsword too. It's also a great way to conserve ammo and it takes less knives to kill enemies. The catch is that if you get hit once, you lose it. Combine it with the shield magic and you're basically untouchable. Revenge of Shinobi introduces a lot of techniques and powers that Shinobi 3 would borrow heavily from. We are also introduced to the bane of my existence. The box bomb. You see a box that would normally have a power-up inside of it. Maybe you're running low on knives. Maybe you need health or the damage buff. Well, how about a bomb that damages you? I swear, there are more bombs in this game than there are power-ups. The first round is full of ninja, samurai, and dogs. You can get the ninjas to teabag with you. In a different time, we could have been friends. But you killed my master, so... Joey the ninja uses the power of stealth in this level to the fullest, by walking up to everyone's face and killing them. You still have 2 floors to play with, just like the older games, but now they're easier and faster to jump between. The second half is basically Groundhog Day. You can find an extra life here, and when you die, the extra life respawns with you. You could die forever and not see a game over in this level. Touch this thing in front of the door to reveal a secret underground passage into the other building. The boss is simple. Just get him to whiff his sword attack and hit him in the... Just aim for... Fuck this. The waterfall level is where I use the jump buff. It's not necessary, but it makes quick work of the log jumps. It kinda reminds me of the Lion King game. Fuck the Lion King, it doesn't have bat ninjas. I also use the magic of Michael Jordan in round 5. It breaks this entire section in half. The second half is the leap of faith level. I don't know how I transitioned to a city from a waterfall level, I just accept it and move forward. It has a really neat backdrop, and these suicidal nuns. Some of the enemy placement in this game is really hit or miss.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea.
You got this one part where they put a power-up in front of a samurai with a ninja who throws shit at you. You can't hit the ninja or get the power-up because the samurai is blocking you. That's evil, but I like it.
Bad idea.
I hope somebody got fired for that. You're probably saying, hey, he looks kinda like Rambo. Well, this game is Hirohiko Araki levels of copyright infringement. Okay, that's Spider-Man. I'm not even kidding, they really used Spider-Man. They licensed him and everything. Wait, what? They got Rambos, Godzilla, this Arnold Schwarzenegger Hulk. That's weird, I expected the Terminator instead of the Hulk. Okay, never mind. This could be attributed to Noriyoshi Oba, the game's director, giving the designers concept art that looked like Sylvester Stallone and Godzilla, expecting them to use them as inspiration for the enemies. Instead, they decided to just put them in. Even Musashi's likeness is based off Hattori Hanzo, played by Sonny Chiba in Kage no Gundam. He played the guy who made Uma Thurman's sword in Kill Bill, who was also named Hattori Hanzo, and that Hattori Hanzo is a descendant of Hattori Hanzo from Kage no Gundam, who also happens to be the real-life 16th century ninja Hattori Hanzo, and I learned this because I played a video game where a ninja fights a fucking dinosaur. Sega's done stuff like this before. There were Marilyn Monroe portraits and Spider-Man in the original Shinobi, but after a bunch of re-releases and version updates, all likenesses to other celebrities and IPs were altered. Even Musashi's face on the title screen had to be altered as well. Also, I love that Neo Zed has enough influence to convince Rambo and Godzilla to join their ranks. Back to round 2. The boss of round 2 is, A lot of the bosses in this game aren't very hard. The Shadow Dancer can be spammed with kunai when he turns black. The Hulkinator gives you plenty of time to dodge. The truck in round 5 isn't hard at all. But the winner of the coveted Pinwheel Award for Fraudulent Bosses is this Brain in a Jar from round 3.
Fraud detected.
The bosses that pose the biggest threats are the amazing Spider Bat with its huge webs. How does a web hurt me? And Godzilla, or Brontosaurus as he's called in the manual. Imagine Joe reuniting with Naoko and telling her he killed Spider-Man, the Terminator, and a dinosaur for her. His tail alone takes more than half of your health if you get hit. Outsmarting him is your key to victory. For a dinosaur with 2 brains, he's kinda stupid. He has one in his head and one where his ass would be. I can forgive the first boss for being easy. He is the first boss after all. Hitting him is still a bitch though. I really don't have a lot to say about every individual level. They are very short levels. There's some emphasis on platforming in this game for the most part, but the enemies are the main obstacles. There is plenty of variety in these enemies, even if many of them are reused throughout the whole game. You've got ninja coming out of the water, nuns that turn into assassins, dudes with invincible Bruce Lee kicks. You got a guy you can't hit until he stops blocking, or just get in his face and shiv him. You also got this one girl that takes 8 hits to kill. Good old Chinatown. Aesthetically the best level in the whole game. It's kind of an okay level. Not much platforming going on except for this one fucking jump. Maybe the jump is fine. Maybe Jose could make these jumps if he didn't walk as slow as fucking RoboCop. They figured out how to make a simple jump the scariest fucking obstacle because you barely make it. There are gaps you can barely make unless you jump at the very last second. Coupled with the double jump, which isn't the most reliable double jump in the world, there's a timing to it, and this double jump can fail you when you need it most. I think my biggest issue with this game is that you get hit by off-screen shit all the time. Like the laser skyscraper, or these dudes throwing grenades. I get hit here, but the guy is all the way over here. And that train level.
Surprise, bitch!
This is one of those games that requires that you know what to expect. You think that's bad, you should see the plane level. Oh god, the fucking plane level. Not only do you get blindsided constantly, but you have this Simon Belmont knockback that knocks you out of the door to an instant death. Shield magic is your best friend here, especially for the off-screen gunners. Which brings me back to my point that some of the levels are built around you using your ninjutsu. The enemy count can be a problem too. It's like one developer said, how many soldiers should we put in this level? And another dev said, fuck it, all of them. This game really loves to throw tons of soldiers at you. It's like Neo Z controls the entire US military. Is the president running Neo Z? Did the president kill my master? You have to be good at managing multiple enemies at a time. Plan your next move instead of running, or slowly walking, head first into certain death. Sometimes you just have to know there's an enemy off screen. This game can be trial and error most of the time, and you may get your ass kicked on your first playthrough. The bridge level is the ultimate test. You got soldiers on one side, a bunch of assassin nuns on the other side, and red cars that do tons of damage if you get hit. The somersault knife throw is very useful for dealing with enemies below you, but it does use up a lot of ammo. This level does have some hidden ammo pickups at the top of the screen. That's the only mercy you get here. By the way, there's tons of hidden power-ups in this game, so go nuts finding them. The latter half of Revenge of Shinobi is not for the weak. They've been going easy on you up until now. The factory level is full of bottomless pits and lava pools, and this fire jet at the exit. Nice. There are levels with enemies and hazards placed in areas specifically for a cheap, instant death. And because the levels are short, there are no checkpoints anywhere. You go back to the start of the level when you die. The final level is a bastard. It's more annoying than difficult. The cheap deaths, off-screen enemies, and you being grossly outnumbered, all the stuff I mentioned before is all here, but the worst is yet to come. Welcome to the labyrinth. I'm gonna teach you the secret to beating the penultimate level. Pull up game facts. That's it. It's a maze level. Each door sends you to a different area and you may be stuck here for a while. They try to throw you off by putting a door here that sends you in the wrong direction so that you have to jump over it to get to the right path. I think I spent about an hour here before I just said fuck it. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend is dead at this point anyway. I have no idea where I'm going, and these symbols on the walls might as well be middle fingers because I can't read that shit. It's actually a great way to pad out the game's length for a few hours. Also, every enemy you've ever faced is in this labyrinth. If you do somehow figure out the proper route to this god-awful labyrinth with this 12-second music loop that never fucking stops, get the power-up before the boss door. You'll see why. Here it is, the final battle with the head of Neozed, the ninja master. He isn't too hard, but it takes some finesse to jump over his hair attack. By finesse, I mean the hair goes wherever the fuck it wants to go and you have to see into the future to dodge it. This fight does go on for a while if you're not powered up, and your suicides become extremely useful if your health gets low. Now that he's dead, let's save my girlfriend and, Shit. Musashi avenged his master and saved the world, but at the cost of his lover's life. Her death serves as a reminder of the sacrifices heroes must make for the greater good. Or just get good and get the good ending where he saves his girlfriend. I didn't even notice this on my first playthrough. While I was fighting this asshole, the ceiling was slowly coming down to crush Naoko. You can hit the chains with your knives to slow the ceiling down. Or you can get the power-up before the final boss, use your shield magic, and save your girlfriend. This is probably my favorite part of the entire game. It's a really cool idea for a final boss, or the developers being huge dicks, but cool nonetheless. I've put up with a lot of cheap deaths and questionable level design up to this point, but this makes it all worth it. The only downside is that if you fail to get the good ending, you have to die, or start the whole game all over again. There are Genesis owners who swear by this game, and for good reason. It's challenging, has a slick soundtrack, and some of these graphics, for its time, hold up extremely well. Some of these stages look like paintings. They were able to make buildings in the background with only squares. Look at that water. That shit belongs in a museum. You can find Revenge of Shinobi in a bunch of compilations that Sega put out over the years. From PC, to PlayStation, to Xbox, to even the Switch. You got plenty of options to choose from if you want to play this game, and it's 400 different revisions. And if you want to play version 1.0 with all the forbidden stuff in it, there's option A, which involves finding a working Genesis cartridge somewhere, or option B. This is one of those games that really sold people on the Genesis during those crucial first years. Revenge of Shinobi has earned my respect.